And we are live. It is another great day from coast to coast. We are live on Cribl TV today. We are going to talk about CriblCon, and I'm so excited to be here with the crew that was a big part of setting up CriblCon, Chris Bashirs and Mike Dupuis from the community team. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
You first, Chris.
Chris Bashirs, part of the community team. I'm a project advocate over here at Cribl. Mike?
And I'm Mike Dupuis, a customer advocate here at Cribl. Part of Chris's team as well.
There you go.
Like a duo.
Yep. And as too many people know, I'm Ed Bailey, captain in charge of the Talk Too Much team. So I think we call it evangelism, but it's talking. Hey, we already got some great comments. Steve Colpin. Hey, we're going to big shout out to Steve and Don Riley from TransUnion for giving a really, really compelling customer presentation at CriblCon. It was a big hit with everybody.
Excellent.
So Mike and Chris, y'all set up CriblCon. Let's go into the details of how many people, how big was the venue? Just give us the big numbers.
Ooh, the big numbers. Well, we had over 400 people there on Monday. We had, for folks that didn't, or I guess don't know, or just jumping on. CriblCon was basically just a one-day event. One-day content event this year, and then we basically stuck around in Vegas for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for demos and ad hoc or on-demand hands-on labs. But the event itself on Monday was over 400 people. We topped it off, the cherry on top, let's put it, with a happy hour. We had probably an extra 200 people join us for the happy hour. So we had a lot of folks very interested, lots of questions, a lot of relationships that were built, elbow bumps, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, all of the above were shared on Monday, along with amazing keynote, customer content, customer presentation. I believe if I lost maybe a few brain cells, memory cells, not brain cells. I think we had six customer sessions as well as the keynote. So I'll say it was a very packed day on the 17th.
Yep. So we got a comment from Sean Cannon, another one of our great presenters. He presented for AFLAC, I believe, and so I thought that was really compelling what Sean was talking about.
He rocked people's socks off.
He did. What is the goat of goats?
The goat of goats.
There you go. Hey, and so to top it off, I was at Clint's keynote. I was flabbergasted. All the Cribl people were standing or sitting in the back of the room because there weren't any open seats, and that is just that was great to see. So many people. It was great to finally people you've seen on Zoom calls for years. And now you actually get to meet them. So it was great. Chris, you got any comments?
No, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was well over what we expected. It was incredible. The amount of people that showed up for that first day. It's always nervous when you do one of these for the first time. Sure. And you're like, oh, I hope my friends show up. Not only did our friends show up, but their friends showed up, and friends that we now have showed up. So it was amazing.
Right, and I think it was especially just being able to see people face to face. I think that was really great. And also, I moderated what's called Birds of a Feather session for federal, state, local, and education, and that was outstanding. Had a great group of attendees, had a couple of speakers who specialized in that area, and just the shared sense of purpose, the shared struggles that everyone has. It was great to talk about how we can all help each other and use tools to make all of our lives easier. So just all around, it was a great time.
Yeah, and it continued through the week. The folks that showed up to the Cool Lab through the week had a coffee with us, hung out, watched some demos, did some labs.
So what was a Cool Lab for the uninitiated?
It is Mike's baby, so I will let him tell you all about his baby.
Yes. The Cool Lab. I guess we when we first started planning, the reason, the theme around Cool Lab was the collaboration. But as many folks are listening from the US right now, last week was a little bit of a heat wave. So we also took Cool Lab to mean come and cool off, because if you were outside in Vegas last week, which I might have dabbled. It was 115 degrees. You would walk on the sidewalk, and they would the heat would just rise up from the sidewalk. So
dude, I had to wear I had to wear a suit and coat walking around in that. So yeah, let me tell you about heat. Holy moly.
Yeah, not fun, not fun. But ultimately, it's a place to collaborate. Right? So on Monday, it was a little bit bigger because we had a little bit of a bigger space, but we had 6 demo pods with all of our latest innovation. We had sales engineers, product folks, actual engineers that were there to answer questions, to show demo, to dive into what the product does. And then we also sprinkled in a few alliance partners as well. So the conference and our ecosystem is nothing without our partners. So we brought them on and we basically had a great interaction, right? And I think that's to your point, the in-person, right? That's the power of the conference. We have all of our content that's live now, or most of our content, if not all, but it's going to get there. So folks, they come for the session, but it's also what happens after the session or in between the session that's really powerful, because whether it's the luncheon that you moderated or the interactions, right? We even had a lot of folks, I think it made it on social. I was going to say Twitter, but I actually don't know what the name is. I guess I'll X that out.
Wow. Ouch. Okay. There you go.
Right? That
X
jokes.
something.
Okay, can we shut that mic off?
Yeah. Yes, actually we can.
It'll be like not pardon the interruption, but the other ESPN show where you basically just get blocked off. We actually had our founders, all 3 of our founders were found in the Collab, collaborating with folks, actually giving out demos after the sessions and throughout the week. So it was actually it was a great way to really just put that power of in-person relationships on display and to be able to collaborate with folks.
I can't tell you how many ad hoc architectural meetings, deployment meetings. Let's talk about your SLC. Let's talk about your process. And so it was just, it was just one great conversation after another. Also, I just displayed Sean Cannon's commitment to wear the goat medallion. So we need a picture of the goat medallion, but let's picture Flavor Flav size ornament, but a goat instead of a clock. I mean, I think that's the best way I can describe it.
We will. We'll actually have pictures. We have pictures going up. I'm currently writing a post to that blog just to talk about some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, but also to etch it in the internet archives to make sure that our words are etched in there. And we have a few good pictures from the event as well. And Sean and the rest of our community award winners are also in there.
Yeah, too funny. We got some great videos to show as well. Also, I'm just putting on the screen some of the great comments we're having from some of our viewers. Travis, really appreciate it. Chris, thank you. Here, there we go. And then there's Steve Colpin. I got to give a big shout out to Steve. He had an above average week, so he gets the Splunky Inventor of the Year award at the Splunk conference. A couple hours after he does one of the opening customer presentations at CriblCon, and then he did another presentation a few days later at Conf, and I think 315 people at his presentation. So Steve's doing okay.
I get a feeling like that's Steve's every week. That just seems to be Steve.
There we go. Very, very cool. Hey, so are we ready to go? And let's play a little bit of some highlights from Clint's keynote.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Clint Sharp, co-founder and CEO of Cribl. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to our first ever CriblCon. And we're all here about choice and control. When people ask me, what does Cribl sell? I usually say choice. And I think that's incredibly important, because as technology professionals, you've made a ton of choices over years. And those choices are not wrong. Those choices were the right choices at the time you made those choices, and you should be able to continue to make new choices that interact with the environment where we find you. We want to meet you where you are. We want to give you software that recognizes you are in a complex world full of lots of different decisions that you simply can't change. We don't come to you and say, replace everything you have and here's how I provide you value. We come to you with solutions that work with the choices that you've already made, and we give you the ability to make new choices in the future, no matter what choices you've made in the past. Cribl has grown incredibly quickly. We are one of the fastest growing companies in enterprise software because of you, because of the value that we're providing to you. But we are so lucky, because not only do we have 500 plus amazing customers, we get 500 customers as design partners. You guys are working with us hand in hand to build software that solves problems for you. Your feedback directs the solutions. We don't go back into the factory and spend years noodling around and then come to you with a solution that we have from on high deigned to be the exact solution to your problem. We noodle around for a few months and we bring you some shit that doesn't really look all that great, and then you tell us how it could be better. And that's the right way to build software. What got us to 2023 is not going to get us to 2033. You're going to have 2.5 times the data in 5 years than you have today, and your budget is not going to grow 2.5 times. So what do we do? How do we resolve this tension? Ultimately at Cribl, we think we need to do different. We need all of the data. By the way, we also think you need all the data, and you should own that data. That data should be in open formats. That data should be portable. You should be able to put multiple analytic solutions on top of all of your data. It shouldn't be locked into proprietary formats and into proprietary tools. You should have the flexibility to accommodate all of the data types, shapes, volumes that you have to deal with in IT and security. You have massive amounts of data volumes, significantly greater than business data. You have many, many more data shapes than exist in traditional rows and columns in databases. You can do different when you can ask and answer questions of all of your data, all the data that I mentioned, API, PCAP, also rows and columns, melt data, configuration data, binary data, all of that data should be accessible to you at any time. Cribl is the data company for IT and security. We are focused on your pain. We understand your problems. We need different data. We need different architecture to give us different visibility. And we are the data company for you.
I got to say, that was outstanding. I really appreciate Clint's opening remarks. I think this is something that's unusual. He's lived this life. He's not just a businessman with an MBA who decided to start a company. You work in this field, work with people who use data, and Clint gets it. And that just, it really showed his keynote.
Yeah, 100%.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say I love the line that they've taken at this company on it's your data, it's your choice, it's you do what you need to do because you're already using the tools that work for you.
Right.
And we just build tools that help you with that. I mean, I think that's a huge thing because anybody who's lived this life, that's where they live. That's
Exactly.
It is. I mean, and I think in the keynote, and I can't remember if it was in the highlights. I now they're all blending together. But ultimately, I think he talks about the decisions that folks have made, right? So in IT, you make a decision, right? Obviously, things are fluid and teams change as they go along. But the decisions that they make at the time, with Cribl, you're not locked in anymore, right? You basically have the control to be able to say, like, yeah, you know what? That was a great decision at the time. We've evolved. Things have changed. Now we can ultimately change with, as we'll call it, with innovation, as you basically have a set of tools in your tool chest that allows you to control, let's say where data goes, what data is, how data is shaped, and to actually have the choice that ultimately you can make more decisions down the road. It's not one decision that says, great, you're locked in forever now, and you're basically like you have to start driving your business based on the choice that you made 10 years ago. So I think it's super powerful, and I think it's something that we at Cribl will keep on going. We'll keep on putting up on the board and always adhere to.
Yeah, it's a big deal. As someone I did this for a long time, I hated having my vendors dictate my choices to me. I hated not having control of my data. It drove me nuts. I mean, the biggest impulse that leads people to build their own tools is because they want choice and control. They want to be able to do exactly what they want to do the way they want to do it. But of course, building your own tools has its own cost. I mean, nothing free in this life, especially in IT. And those are in that choice control. I mean, that's the original first principle of empowering people to run their business the way they want to do it. I think it cannot be understated.
Yeah, and actually listening to them. I mean, you make a great point that you got a call out during the keynote that, hey, we'd gone in one direction with this business and it wasn't working. And then we talked to one person and they said, hey, if you built this thing, I will buy it today. And that just happened to be Ed Bailey.
So, hell yeah. I'll tell you, I bent some rules to get that to happen because watching, massive value in 15 minutes, I was just like, shit, I got to do this. And so, it was awesome. Hey, so let's go into Dratan's next. So I got to give Tron a lot of props for doing a little bit of a live demo. Defied the demo gods, and it worked. So let's hear what Dratan has to say. Let's see if I can not blow up my computer. There we go.
I'm Dratan Batinska, co-founder and head of product on C0 to 1 here at Cribl, and I have some really exciting things to talk about and some really cool demos to show at the end. There's data everywhere, and if it makes you feel any better, everyone has this problem. We do too. We're a 5-year-old company. We have data in over a few dozen systems already. This data comes in all shapes and formats. In fact, the formats here run the gamut from fully structured to completely unstructured and anything in between. Binary files, compressed files, files with schemas, files with no schemas. They're fun to analyze. However, most of your analysis actually focuses here on the analysis systems and maybe a little fraction on the data lakes for those systems that can actually query the data lakes. Data here is not tapped, no one is searching here, and no one is even thinking to search on the API endpoints. And it was these two key insights, the data volume problem and the data sprawl problem, that drove us to design Cribl Search. Cribl Search is based on a first principles architecture that allows for searching data in place. It is very different from your existing solutions, which is what makes it so powerful and so transformative. So in this summer release, you'll find that we've added support for Azure Blob and Google Cloud Storage and literally any S3 compatible store. What I'm mostly proud of, though, is the work that the team has done with our direct integration with Amazon Security Lake, with native support for OCSF and Parquet projection and predicate pushdown, which enable fast analytics out of the box. And in a true think and do different approach, in this summer release, we're going beyond edge, we're going beyond data stores, we're adding support for searching REST API endpoints. But if you think about it, those interfaces were never meant to be interrogated or asked arbitrary questions. And today you can with Cribl Search. Imagine, for instance, in real time, asking your MS Graph or your Okta endpoints about users without MFA, and asking Zoom about users running meetings without passwords, and now you have a list of high-risk users that you can go and have a little chat with. And you can do this in real time without ever ingesting this data, ever. Just think about that, how powerful that is. You guys want to see a demo of it? Yeah. Let's do it. To target those API endpoints, again, they appear as if they are yet another data set. And I can come in, I can say Google Workspace API, and I don't know, let's go over all time. What we're doing here is we're hitting those APIs and then we're normalizing the responses to make it look and feel like an event so that you can actually interact with it. You don't have to write custom REST API calls. We're doing it for you and we're displaying it just like another event. And now you can work with it. So for example, here, I have this query called, let's say, id.application name. Let's look at the logins, right? Let's look at the logins on our Google Workspaces. And I can do another simple count by actor, count of logins by email. Again, in real time, this data is not indexed, this data is not moved, this data is not processed. And there you have it. Like within 3.2 seconds, we now have a view of who's been logging in using our workspaces and what emails they've been using and how often they've done it over all time. And we believe that the latest advances in Gen AI will radically change how humans interface with systems. And to that end, we're investing effort and time to explore what that looks like. So let me show you a quick prototype before I go. So imagine when you land in search, instead of getting greeted by a Kusto interface, you get greeted with a natural language interface. What if you were to come in here and say things like, I don't know, show me all the errors in security logs, if I can spell it, security logs from user Clint. I mean, look at that. That translation was actually not too bad. I mean, data set, Cribl security logs, level error, username Clint. Let me hit search. Let me see if it actually returns anything. Sorry, man, you make errors. You got problems. Isn't that amazing? So just imagine the power. Yeah. Thank you. So just imagine the power that experiences like this and interfaces like this bring you at your fingertips.
That was pretty cool.
Incredibly cool. I have to say the API search, I know it seems simple to some people, but I've spent so many years of my life writing a Python script to go out and pull data that I had no other way to get it out of a system, format it, and then ingest it into a tool. I've spent so much time of my life dealing with that. So when I saw that we were going to do that, it just blew me away. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anyone who's tried to pull data from APIs, it's painful. Ever look at the Swagger interface, the Swagger framework, and you wonder, there's not much swagger here. I need some bedazzling or something, just it needs something, there's, it needs another name. But yeah, API data is tough. And automating that process, making it easy, saving time. I mean, that's a big deal. Cannot be underestimated. I love also Dratan's themes around data is everywhere. It's going to grow. It's going to spread. It's, how do you get value from the data? How do you know what's there? And also be ready for the challenges of the future, because you're going to have more data and it's going to be in new places you never even thought about.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of our speakers, right? So during the day, this was ultimately a quote, right? They were talking about Cribl, but they said like they have 37 tools in their cyber tool chest, right? I would venture to say most of those, they ultimately use data. They have data somehow. They either like they consume data, and if something happens, or if you're trying to look for something, it's just that data at rest. You don't want to get in the API calls. I think it's I want to say a pain in the butt, but also it just takes time, right? So being able to actually do it to search data at rest is going to be amazing. It's going to be super useful. And it's going to keep on evolving as well, right? So 37 today is probably going to be, 47 next year, or 47 in 2 years, right? Like it's just going to keep on growing.
Yeah, well, and even knowing what's on those 37, like what is the data there, and what do I have?
Yeah, bridging silos and covering gaps. I mean, that's probably the biggest challenge out there. Hey, one thing I want to mention is I was sitting with some of our the community, and they didn't realize when Dratan's running a search through Edge, searching the local systems. They didn't even realize it. I was like, yeah, that's pulling data off local systems. You don't have to centralize all your data. And they were like, wow, like you can actually do that.
Not indexed, right? It's not indexed. It's not processed, and it's not moved. That's huge.
Yeah. And this goes back to unlocking the value of all of your data, because there's so much data that can't afford to centralize. And so now give a tool to with a very reasonable set of costs, be able to get at this data that you need. All sorts of great use cases. Imagine, if you're an Elastic or a Splunk admin and your developers are coming to you about debug logs, you can use Cribl Search to search debug logs and not have to put all that data into your systems. It's a no-brainer.
How many times have you been told this is the log that you should be ingesting, and then you go look at that log and it has no data that's worthwhile, and instead you find out a developer's writing to a log out in the middle of nowhere that includes everything you want, but you've already ingested the other one. Now you have to go find out where the log that actually matters is. That's a familiar story. Anyone who had to onboard data into any kind of system knows that story, and it's maddening. Absolutely maddening. So, all right, so let's go ahead and finish up with a video from Ledion. This is one of my favorites of the day.
Focusing on your pains is what gets us up every morning. But what keeps us going is that commitment to deliver on those solutions that actually address those pain points and make you the stars of your organization. Last year, we delivered 165 customer-requested features. That is one almost every other day. And we did that consistently across 15 releases while maintaining 99.9% uptime in our cloud environment. And we did all this while the engineering organization tripled in size. That is something very, very hard to do, and I'm very proud of our organization for being able to do that. I want to give a shout out to our Cribl engineering org. Thank you. Scale, performance, and reliability need to be evergreen investments at Cribl. Otherwise, we're simply not going to be able to keep up with that data growth. And we're committed to make sure that we always are investing in these areas. And this year, under the scale theme, we've been working on bringing multiple worker groups in our cloud environment. That provides workload isolation, as well as bringing compute closer to where the data is. So if you have data that is originating, for example, in US East, and your management plane is in US West, you should not have data travel across the states to be processed. We're continuing to evolve our persistent queuing technology to mitigate data loss. And on Edge, we have been working on making sure that we're able to support tens of thousands of nodes. Today, we support about 15,000 agents to be managed and monitored and configured centrally. But what we hear from you is that you want that to be in the hundreds of thousands or even millions. And we're committed to making sure that we are able to support that in the near future. So starting with Stream, here we have a deployment with about 10 worker groups with 100 nodes. Each node has 16 vCPUs and about 32 gigs of RAM. Let's switch to our monitoring dashboard and see how much data is being processed by this dashboard. This system is processing about 60 million events per second, equating to about 6.7 gigabytes of data every second. And if you're to do the math, that is 1 petabyte of data per day. And in that 20 seconds that dashboard has been up, that system has processed 1 billion events. When you need to scale, Cribl Stream will scale with you. Thank you. Woo. Thank you. Now switching to Edge, Edge has a different angle of scale. We need to be able to manage tens of thousands of nodes. In this environment, we have about 15,000 nodes spread across 5 different fleets. The UI is pretty snappy and you're still able to navigate. But what's interesting in Edge is the ability to configure this system and push those configuration changes. In this view, we are making some config changes and doing a commit and deploy to make sure and see how quickly and how easy it is to get those configs out. As we did a commit and deploy, here we're seeing some Edge nodes are lagging in picking up those configs, and you saw it within a few seconds they were able to pick them up. There's no video editing magic going on here. Within a few seconds, we were able to make config changes, commit and deploy, and now all those Edge nodes have gotten the latest configuration. With Edge, it simply works, and it's remarkably fast. So what we heard from you is that you needed an easy way to delegate the power of choice and control to your teams. You're able to do that with Stream Project and Authorization. We heard from you that it was hard to scale Edge and be able to manage the thousands of agents. We heard from you that monitoring and managing Kubernetes clusters was a pain, and we brought you Edge. And we're committed to innovating and to bring you the easy button as we continue on our journey.
Wow, that was great. Love seeing what they're doing with Edge. Chris, Mike, what do you got to say?
This was I know we kept Letty on for last year, but to me, right as we were going, it's like, but wait, there's more. We didn't stop just at search, right? Obviously, you listen to the keynote. Clint talks about what we're doing. I think the theme that kind of is woven through, and obviously, this is one of our values, but we listen, right? We develop something. I love the beginning with Clint. It talks about, we noodle around, we give you something, and then we go, you tell us it's, not exactly what you wanted, and we keep on going. And that's what we did, right? And Leon said, hey, search is great, but we're working on scale. I love the 165 customer feature requests that were delivered last year. That's huge, right? It's basically, it's not we went out, we built something, and then we ultimately, we did stop listening, and we kept on adding and bolting some features on there. Is, hey, you actually came back, told us what you needed, and we built it and we delivered it. Right, not just built it, we delivered it within the year, and we're not stopping there. Right, I think, I mean, would I, not that obviously, there's still plenty more to come along, but the scale part is just going to keep on going. Right, we're just going to. I can think, right? We make jokes about Clint looking like Bill Gates, but letting on going scale would actually work as well here.
Got to put them together on a stage and have them dance to bad music. Then that would really be the Bill Gates moment right there. Chris, what do you got to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy to get a solid product. Well, it's not easy to get a solid product in place, but it's easy once you have a solid product into place to walk away and work on the next hotness. And stepping back and thinking, here's all these folks that use our products, and how can we continuously make them better while we're, doing other innovations is huge. And I love that we've taken that on at Cribl. I got to be part of the scaling test this round for this last release, and it's impressive. Like, being able to jump into 3,000 nodes, change something, push a bundle, and then watch it the interface doesn't even refresh fast enough to actually see the bundles hit the 3,000 nodes. Yeah. It's crazy.
Anyone who's had it reload a certain deployment server with tens of thousands of clients knows the feeling you're talking about.
And SSHing in and restarting and hoping that some of them start back up. Yep.
Yeah, when you want to put a gun to your head because it's so frustrating. So absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, and that's why when you have a business model that's driven by customer interaction, that we're going to help customers. Free training, we're going to pay attention to customers. We're going to give customers after something, we're going to give it to them. And so it's exciting to see. So it's why I'm here. So I can't wait for next year. I mean, CriblCon is just really successful. Hey, so just for everyone watching, it's probably going to be next Friday, but we're going to try to start having we're going to start showing some of the user presentations as well. We'll have some commentary, and guess what? For some of the people, we are going to invite the people who gave those presentations on the show to give commentary on their own presentations. And so it's going to be a good time. I can't wait.
Excited for
hear that, Sean? Hear that, Steve?
I was going to call them out. I'm glad you called them out.
Yeah, there we go. We're coming for you. But we'll get that worked out. But it's real exciting. I got to say, this was an amazing event for the first time. It's just, makes me look forward to next year.
It was great.
It was great. Hey, for everyone, thank you very much. Join the Cribl community at cribl.io/community, and we look forward to seeing you all there. And we need your interaction to be successful. We need you to be successful. So just thank you for your time and attention.
Thanks all.
Have a great day.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.